How's everybody doing? This is Phillip Lyde, aka the Prosperous Rhinoceros. Team Lyde, live your dreams every day. And before I run in here to the gym real quick, I wanted to bring up a interesting chain of events that happened to me this morning. And well, I guess over the past couple of days, what's been going on is that in my spirit, I've been wanting to so-called tell my story. And for years, I thought I told people my story regarding, my marriage, some of my personal accounts. But yesterday was the first time I actually expressed myself in a way that was honest to myself, okay? And if you didn't have a chance to read it, you could actually go to my page on Facebook and check that out. But this video here is to actually follow up with that. And I had an interesting chain of events with someone online who considers themselves an entrepreneur. And not to get into details about it, but the company that they have has been around for 30 some odd years. And yet this person's technique or this person's approach and posture was so amateurish, it was so elementary that I can tell just in the conversation that we were having that this person, probably is right now struggling or probably is frustrating in building his or her business. And this happens to everyone. This happens to all of us when we're in the initial stage of what we call the shiny object syndrome. And today's mistake that I want to harp on is actually listed as number one. And number one's mistake that a lot of you guys have is that you're not being obsessed enough. You don't have an obsession with your why. Okay, your why has to come from a place that has to exceed all monetary or materialistic possessions. Case in point, yesterday's story that I talked about was in regards to my father and why me as a parent want to change the roots of my family tree. I come from a place, I actually come from a place where growing up in Brooklyn, New York, as well as in South Jersey, throughout my childhood, I came from a place where positive thoughts or positive environments were often almost frowned upon or looked at as a sign of weakness. And it hit me yesterday that a lot of the bad habits or the poor decisions that I've made are not just a reflection of me, but have been a reflection of what I've been used to or been accustomed to knowing as a child, even in my adult years physically. People still have childlike mindsets in terms of their belief system. And it hit me with a ton of bricks as I was experiencing an act of selfishness on my oldest son to his brothers. And I said, well, damn, he's only learning these things from me, who in turn learned these things from my father, who possibly in turn learned these things from his father, so forth and so forth. This is what we in our community call oftentimes the generational curses. I can never be successful. I can never make 10 grand a month because, my parents didn't do that. I don't know any better because they didn't know any better because they didn't know any better, so forth and so on. In essence, that's an excuse. That's an excuse to stay within the convenience of your mediocrity. And to you guys who sincerely want to be entrepreneurs, I say to this: you're gonna have to be honest with yourself. I just saw a quote by Jim Morrison of The Doors, the late Jim Morrison, and he says, "Windows work two ways. Mirrors work one way." But I want to expand upon that. You also have doors of opportunities. Okay? And what he was saying was, in the triangle of success, and this is how I took it today. In the triangle of success, one of the first things you must master, for those of you who understand what I'm talking about, if you don't, get with me and I will definitely get you that access to that information. But in the triangle of success, one of the three factors that you must be able to monitor, evaluate, and identify is your internal communications. What is your belief systems currently? What are the things that you're thinking about? Okay. When I talk about not being obsessed enough, you must have a value system or a core spiritual value to why you want to be in business in the first place that exceeds you just wanting to be on stage, or exceeds you wanting to be acknowledged for being a leader. You know, grow up in your thinking, and what I mean by that is, you know, adults are accountable for their actions. The success or the failure of your business is contingent upon what you do or don't do. If you're consistent, you're going to be consistent in one form or the other. Whether you're consistent in developing those bad habits that are not income producing, or you're developing those productive habits that create, you know, sales each day, or a bigger circle of influence, or more credibility on the part of your business and your brand. Remember, the tools and the resources that most people have in network marketing are just that. They're platforms for you to be able to present and project yourself as that leader, as that credible source. Think about it like this. Of all the debit cards and credit cards in the world, you know, most of them have one thing. They have a system in place, whether that's Visa, MasterCard, or Discover. Me, myself, you know, the system that I now have in place is that much more productive than what I could have ever done trying to just simply get into network marketing and following, you know, the generic steps that the company gives you. If you're not investing in your time and resources with the right team, with the right people in place, then you're fooling yourself as to why you're doing this business in the first place. And you must have an obsession enough to where, as a gentleman said earlier today, and I have to shout this guy out, Brandon Die Hard, yo, what you said today online was phenomenal. We're not on the same teams, but I do feel we're in the same community because we look at a lot of the similarities in our respective businesses the same way. And what I mean by that is, pay yourself first. If you're not obsessed enough to say, I have to do all that I can to better myself, to acknowledge the mistakes of my past, but not to use that as, I'm not going to use that to be yoked to my business or yoked to being mediocre in life, then what you're saying is, you will pay yourself first through the education, the time, the resources, connecting with the right people who have the same vision and processes in mind. You know, it doesn't matter what degrees you have. It doesn't matter what your titles are. Let's just be honest. Let me tell you this, and this will give you some indication of what I'm talking about. This December coming up, I will have received a master's in education in special education. Now, what's interesting about that fact is that this is actually my 4th graduate degree, not course, but degree, meaning I've gone through the process of doing dissertations. I've gone through the process of doing capstones, assessments, doing 20, 30 pages of papers each and every week on and off for some time now. Okay? And that does not mean shit compared to getting with the right people on the prosperity team, as well as in the power of 3x3, getting with the right people within Empower Network, getting with the right people in terms of any of my other affiliates who have the results that it takes for me to go reach my threshold. Because with 4 master's degrees, aside from my undergrad, with 4 master's degrees, I should be 6 figures or plus easily. But the key is this, and I'm gonna bring it in just a little bit. The key is this: it's to get that time and mobility that most people elude, okay? That most people run away from, that most people claim that they want, but they don't want to listen to somebody who might have been homeless. They don't want to listen to somebody who may be quote unquote beneath them in terms of titles. But you know what's funny about that? What's funny about that is that you'll listen to somebody who's just as broke as you. You'll listen to somebody who will shoot you down. You'll allow yourself to find out what Nene Leakes or what any of the Real Housewives of Atlanta are doing. But they're using these same strategies. They may be making it more entertaining for you, but yet you'll still buy their t-shirts, you'll buy their books, you'll buy their tell-alls, you'll watch their views. And when you look at stuff like this, most people are not interested in listening to something that will expose them for who they are. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with understanding that you are not perfect. Shit, I'm not perfect. I've got 4 boys and a wife at home. And I work on it every day. I work on it because in changing the roots of my family tree, they will not suffer or inherit the poor decisions that I made in life if I give them a good foundation. And it's the same with whoever your sponsor is, your team is. You know, your obsession again has to come from a place that transcends money. You know, you got a lot of people, especially a lot of young people, get online and they post pictures all day of them with wads of cash. Nothing wrong with that. I salute you. But I will tell you this, at the end of the day, if you're not helping somebody in the manner in which they can grow spiritually, with or without money, then you're doing them and you're doing yourself a disservice. Remember, whatever energy you put into the universe is actually going to come back to you. Look, I don't want to be up here preaching, but sometimes I got to give it to you the way I need to give it to you. Remember, I am a rhino. A lot of people might get offended. A lot of people may understand. You may even be trying to connect with me just to see how you can pitch to me. And let me just save you the time and the energy. I'm too old to be thinking about you coming at me sideways if we don't have a relationship. Okay? And in my healthy obsession, just like me going to this gym, I've already taken up 12 minutes of my time. But I wanted to get this out to you guys in order for you to understand who I am more as a person. I can sit here all day and tell you, you know, all these positive antidotes and give you all these quotes that I've memorized. Shit, I could do it on a pulpit and give it to you in the same terms from the King James version of the Bible. But until you understand this, without you having a why, or without you being clear, and to be honest with you, I've been doing network marketing on and off for a number of years. However, it was up until just yesterday when I got off of one of the conference calls. It's known as the Think and Grow Rich call. I'll give you all the link to that if you want it. But the Think and Grow Rich call yesterday moved me, and the next thing I knew, I was just typing this story. I was just moving. And when I finished, I didn't proofread it, I didn't look at it. When I was finished, that's the result that you'll see on my page. It's not that I hate anybody. It's not that I'm mad or I'm lingering. It's I'm clear. That's what you gotta be. I'm clear. And I'm clear that me, of who, let me say it like this. I'm clear as to who I am. And I'm clear that I know that I will attract those people who sincerely want to be helped and want to be successful in their business. All we have is us. You already see that society as a whole does not give a damn about what you want or have to offer or what you think can be the savior to their success. Remember, most people are still looking for the next lifetime in order to achieve their dreams. This is why if I was to throw on a robe, grease my head up with Jerry curl juice, and I started quoting scriptures from Proverbs and Psalms, I guarantee you I'd be monetarily successful. And I ain't got to care about it because it's the business of whatever you want. Remember, I don't sell steak to vegetarians. I'm going to keep it cut short because two things. My time is money, and I got to hit this gym because I'm doing chest today. I'm actually doing, chest and triceps today. But however, I want to reiterate a lot of the things you might have heard in other forums, even on your team. If your sponsor is truly a leader, he should have already told you this. So there's no reason why you should be trying to come at somebody online or offline with, do you want to just buy? Or you telling me everything about the comp plan and you don't know shit about where I'm at right now. With that being said, this is Phillip Lyde, the Prosperous Rhinoceros. With or without you, I'll see you at the top.